What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Devy YouTube channel. We're back today. We're going to go back to the 2026 class. So on this channel, we like to give you a little bit of everything, little fantasy advice, little college football advice, stuff like that. And we've been going through every class. So I've gone actually through the 24 quarterbacks all the way through 26 quarterbacks and the running backs this last week. And now we're diving into probably my favorite class is the 2026 wide receivers. So we're going to be going through the top 5 consensus rankings here at the Devy Royale. We're going to be looking at strengths, weaknesses of each one of these guys, where they're kind of getting drafted. I have a little ADP for you guys, and we got film. So I know if you guys like watching film and watching these guys play in high school and what you'd expect from them there. And then we're just going to be talking overall about the class and guys to watch, because there's always guys to watch in this class. This is probably the strength of the 26 class on top of the quarterbacks. And so I always like diving into these guys, seeing where they're at as prospects, and it's a lot of fun. So you know the drill. Intro is going to go. You're going to hit that like and subscribe button. I will catch you on the other side. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start talking about it and going through. So I got to put my guy Jonte Cook on the screen there, and let's get into the top guys, and let's just kind of talk about what we see from these guys. And like always, when we're going over these guys, there's always nuances of this. We're talking about young guys here, so they're going to improve. But the first guy on the board is Zachariah Branch. When Branch 5'10", 172, I know there's some jokes about him maybe not being 5'10", but overall, like Branch is an athlete going to USC, #1 rated wide receiver of this class. And just a straight up burner. Like we're talking about just a guy that's going to be able to do work out there against opponents, speed, explosiveness. When you're looking at that, true track guy, right? And as a junior, you saw his senior stats. He's a little injured though, but as a junior at Bishop Gorman, hey, 5A state championship, right? Produced 48 catches for 1,000 yards and 14 touchdowns. Plus, he had 2 punt return touchdowns. So when we're talking about Branch, he's not only a weapon in the receiving game, he's a weapon in the return game. He does it all. Like, he is just fantastic, just a well-rounded kid, really explosive everywhere. And you know what? He has really good body control and short area burst too. Gets off the line quick, able to make big plays happen. Vertical threat. He pushes defenses vertically, and he's going to expose weak corners, and he's going to expose secondary. So you're thinking about the Pac-12. He may come in as one of the best weapons already in the Pac-12. That's how strong he is as a receiver. Now, his weaknesses, biggest thing is size. Like, how tall is this kid? Like, where does he come from? When you're thinking of like, where is he going to measure in at? And then injury history. He has suffered a little bit of injury histories. And again, he only played 2 games his sophomore year because of COVID, because that was the spring of 2021. Played 9 games as a freshman, though, on varsity, so he did have that. Junior was there, and then his senior year, he was a little banged up, had some issues there, and didn't play as much, so the reps aren't there. But, I mean, this kid's going a perfect offense for what he is, right? So let's take a look at the film a little bit, and you're going to notice this about him. He's just a true just track guy, right? Watch this. And this is where this punt return, he's going to immediately get on the field as a punt return guy, a kick return guy, as just a weapon. And USC is going to do that. You see it here. This is his open field ability. Like, he's got that in him. He can make guys miss in the open field. He moves. He got good agility, good quickness, those type of things. Again, over the middle here, big explosion, and he has that. So he can really take advantage of defenses that don't understand and don't understand how good of a receiver he is and how explosive he is as a pass catcher. Again, in the open field, able to make guys miss here. You see on these jet sweeps. I think this is one of the areas that I've been thinking about with Lincoln Riley's offense with him. He has that ability. Like, they're going to move him around. He is such a special play caller, Riley, that they're going to use Branch in so many different ways. And I think that's what's exciting from like a college fantasy perspective, but just from just an overall perspective, this dude's just a weapon. Like, he's just going to be out there. This really does hurt the Relique Brown shares and those type of things out there for guys that like we thought were going to contribute there just because of Branch, but they immediately, with Branch and these guys that they're adding, Mekhi Lemon and some of these other guys we're going to talk about, Dorian Singer, like they're much better than they were last year. And they were explosive last year, but I would argue to say that they're probably 5 or 10 times better this year. That's just what Branch brings to this offense. And these guys, not great quarterback play. Now he's going to go play with Caleb Williams. The bombs that this kid's going to get from Caleb Williams and the ability for Caleb to play out of structure and to make things happen is going to fit right into Branch's kind of strengths. And you love that about him. And you're not pressing this kid off the line or that stuff's going to happen to you. So Branch is one of my favorite kids in this class. Our number 2 guy is Jurian Dickey. Now, Dickey is one of these guys, it's kind of hotly debated out there. You'll see the numbers this last year. He was injured. 4 games, 20 catches, 453 yards, and 6 touchdowns. As a junior, he had 78 catches, 1,300 yards, and 19 touchdowns. He averaged about 16.7 yards per catch. And he played both sides of the ball. So this is my kind of guy right here. Playing both sides of the ball. He has that. We're gonna watch a little tape. I'm gonna show you guys some defensive clips. So my IDP guys will be excited for that. But 6'3", 210, big kid. And for me, when I'm looking at him just from this tape perspective, it's hard just overall watching who he played in high school because he's such an elite athlete, so much better than who he played against. He's got athleticism for days, though. And his catch radius, man, his ability to kind of use his body, goes up and wins 50-50 balls and has contested catches. He can out jump guys. He has good body control, gets on the sidelines. You'll see it. He already has that ability to catch great catches, one-handed balls, ability to kind of contort his body, make, over the shoulder catches, really, really good eye discipline, ability to bring the ball in. He does all those things really well. Weaknesses, speed. What is his speed? So he has a verified 40 at 4.58. That's not great. That's not something that we want him to get up there a little bit. He probably will. Injuries, he definitely has suffered from injuries, and that's probably when you're looking at it, the way he plays the game. Really tough kid. Nose down, really plays hard. That's going to be the issue there. But again, you can't control injuries, but it's just something to note in his profile. Route running is not nuanced. Like a lot of 50-50 balls, a lot of just being aggressive and just manhandling kids and kicking their ass on the field. Like that's what you see a lot. Not a lot of nuance there, but I think he's going to fit fine in that offense when we look at where he's going at Oregon. Like he's going to do well. I think he's a good complement. So when we're looking at his tape and just watching it, I think he's going to be a very good complement with that offense, Franklin, these other guys that are there. And he could be an impact guy right away. Like, and we talked about the speed. He does have some breakaway speed. So you see it there, able to take it over the middle and go get it. Like that's pretty valuable. Now, again, in and out of breaks, this is probably where his strength is. You're going to see that a lot in his tape. His 50-50 balls, goes and gets it, contested catches. Like those are the things that you like. Now, the contested catches stuff is that because he can't get open? He has no separation because of the speed? Or is it just that he's just a physical guy who's going to go get it? And to me, the comp is this, and this is a shout out to the defensive plays. I got to put some defensive plays on there. We got to have some fun on this channel, right? Like we got to see what he could do there. To me, the comp for him, and I don't know, I know 247 Sports is AJ Brown. Me, it's Dez Bryant, and this might be just the Cowboy truther in me and the Cowboy fan, but this kid reminds me of Dez. He just explosive, athletic, plays with that heart. You'll see a bunch of his blocking, stuff on tape in terms of what he can do. He's going to go just punish kids. He plays like Dez Bryant. Like when I see him, I see a young Dez Bryant. And that's probably the most confident comp I have in him. A lot of it is because I love Dez and his ability to do this. Over the middle, he's going to grab those things. You see that a lot. He's not afraid to go over the middle and make those tough catches. And he does have some nuanced route running right there. Not bad. Like it's got to improve, but at least it's there. Like it's physical. It's there. I mean, you see that. But you see him here. He's just aggressive kid. Like he has good awareness. You see it here. Pretty good anticipation. So when we're thinking of him as a pass catcher, as a receiver, he's going to have that well. And I freaking love that he played both sides of the ball. I know people are going to laugh at that, but I freaking love that because I'm old and I like that shit. Like that stuff just gets me going. His ability to go up and get it, like that's probably his best kind of attribute as a receiver. But overall, yeah, you're looking at that. Hey, 50-50 goes and gets it. Now, next kid, Mekhi Lemon. Lemon is a stud. Like going to USC. USC just cleaned house in this area. He played corner and wide receiver, but his last senior stats, you see it there: 69 receptions, 1,000 yards, and 12 touchdowns. Super, super burst, right? So when we're thinking of this, like he has the burst of probably the best. Him and Branch are two of the most explosive playmakers in the class. And guess where they're going? To the same damn team. I think he's a little bit more nuanced as a receiver, though, even though he did play a little corner than Branch. But playmaking all over the field, right? Just like Branch, he has that. And I put explosive playmaker on that is like, hey, his yak ability. Like that is where he is the most dangerous. He's dangerous in the return game, but his short area, explosion and his quickness, his ability to make guys miss in the open field, slants and goes, screens, and those type of things that you're going to see, like that's going to separate him in this class, and that's going to separate him at USC's offense. And if you're projecting forward of like who do you think has the best NFL outcome, I think Lemon could have it in this class, right? He has good catch radius, same thing, able to kind of make guys miss, elite body control routes, balls in the air. He can kind of he can manipulate defenders really well. He has good awareness as a receiver, play strength, and needs athletic testing. Wasn't really on the field in terms of athletic testing. We don't really have the numbers there, play strength as well. Like that's something he's going to have to work on, his play strength. As a corner, he has that strength. As a receiver, he can get bumped off a little bit. They don't bump him a ton. You're going to notice that. But the other thing too is he's going to go play with Malachi Nelson. Like, so we've talked about his ability. So this is where that body control comes in as you're watching. But hey, he's going to be playing with Malachi after this year, after Caleb leaves, and they already have that connection playing together. And so you see that here. That shit's just not fair for defenders. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, in terms of his route running, his ability to go. This is a perfectly placed ball, but like that's that connection they have. So when you're thinking of the connection that they're going to have moving forward, you have to love that as just fantasy managers, USC fans, whatever you are out there. I really like this route. This is one of those things that shows his like just his speed, and he gets it on the numbers there from Malachi. Like that. That's really what separates him. He's just got speed. He's gonna able to take those other areas. I love this route too as well. Like just shows kind of his strength and then his quick lateral burst right there and his acceleration. As soon as he catches the ball, he's gonna accelerate. He's gonna get through. Again, tries to bump and bump him, get him off the line. Doesn't do it as well as you'd like, but that obviously that's going to be the defender. And you love that about him as a corner, right? Okay, like he does that well. His anticipation comes back. This is the catch that I freaking love. Like his ability to just kind of get it and go, and he's not gonna. No one's gonna stop him, right? Like Lemon is legitimately one of the best athletes of this class, and you love that for him. Now, if you're playing USC a lot, you're not gonna like that. Fourth kid, this my guy, Jonte Cook II is someone I've been falling in love with his tape. More and more as I watch it, the more and more I fall in love. 86 catches, 1,500 yards, and 22 touchdowns this last year. Absolute phenomenal numbers, right? Just phenomenal. As in 2021, 806 yards and 19 touchdowns. He just scores touchdowns. This kid had almost 50 touchdowns in his career in high school, almost 3,000 yards receiving in high school. Was absolute phenomenal athlete in high school. And you love that about him. Going to a good spot in Texas, has really good yak ability, great ball tracking ability as well. When you're watching him play, he knows where to come out with the ball. Really good hands. I think he has very good hands. Playmaking, he has that, and speed. Like these guys are all kind of outside of Dickey and Hakeem, who we're going to talk about in a minute. Like these guys, speed, acceleration, run after the catch, everything that we see these NFL and college offenses want, they have that. For him, I think the size thing is a concern. Like, hey, probably need to get a little bit more strength on. And this is where it all ties into weaknesses. Contested catch, I think he needs to do a little bit better job when he's in the air and when he is in traffic. There's times where he can kind of drop some balls and you see that. So that's kind of like the concentration drops, but in traffic, not all the time though. So no, I'm not saying that he does that. It's just something he's going to work on. And that's going to come with strength. Like we're not talking about like that's bad thing, right? These kids are all young. They're going to develop. Press coverage too. That's going to come with strength. So when we're thinking of like Cook as an example of this, like we're going to see these type of things. We're going to see him go and he's got to improve at that. And I think he will. But when you watch his tape, man, I am just, I don't know what the hell the corner was doing on this one, but I am just amazed by the stuff that you can tell that he does on tape. Like Cook is someone who is going to make a name for himself at Texas as long as he gets that opportunity. I think he's going to challenge for targets next year. I know Xavier Worthy is there, and then we're thinking of AD, the transfer, Donnie Mitchell. You're thinking, hey, Nayor is going to come back. You have these guys coming in there. I think Cook's going to step up and be that kid. I think that he can come in and is going to really give Ewers or Manning, whoever's going to be there, kind of that go-to guy. He's a little bigger than Worthy, right? So over the middle, he's going to make those explosive plays. It would not shock me to see him go, as we're thinking of getting the Oklahoma game, and this kid just comes out and just like, oh my God, that's his come out game. Is Oklahoma going to show the world, like everybody's watching college football, like that kid. He has that talent. Now, if he gets out there, that'd be great, right? But that's where he's going to do. He beats defenses over the top. He does that really well. Those are the things that you really like about Cook as a receiver. And he's aggressive. He's not afraid of getting contact and stuff. He's going to work on that a little bit. But hey, he has good concentration, good eye. His eye coordination to catch football is legitimate. Like he does that very well. And they're going to be able to extend plays, right? So Cook's going to be able to extend plays and get out of there. And that's where that playmaking comes into play. Now, number 5, Hakeem Williams, 6'3", 200, big kid, going to Florida State. You're not going to see the production. So the biggest thing we're going to talk about is he didn't necessarily have that. He just didn't have it. He's a multi-sport athlete though, right? So when we think of him as where it's at, he's athletic. Really was a star in the basketball court as well. And he was a kind of a contributor for them as a freshman, and they want to stay title in there. So that's kind of that area that he has. He pretty much projects as like a really big X outside guy. Maybe can use him as a little tight end if he gains a little bit of strength on there. Like that is kind of what Florida State does. They like using those kind of those X guys, and especially the tight end position. I know they have Yaheem Bell and these other guys that have come in there. But Williams is going to set that tone. He could be that athletic, explosive yak guy. Hey, gonna find that, gonna have that ability to kind of just go get it, right? He's just as the kids say, that dog, right? He hasn't had the best quarterback situations. One of the reasons why his production isn't there. But when they get him the ball, he just showed that he can consistently kind of just produce, right? When they got him the ball. The problem was he couldn't get the ball all the time. You see the route running there. That's just because he hasn't had the reps. And I think that's production, reps, and route running all fit together for him. He's got to get the reps. And I think he will. I think he's going to get that as we move forward here. You'll see it here on the tape, though. You'll see. Like, look at this. Little out route. And he just makes things happen. Like he's just breaking tackles here, producing as much as he can. I guess 4, 5, 6, 7 missed tackles right there that he's able to cause, and he's going to take it to the house. That's where it's at. I don't think we've seen his full potential because of that, because they haven't been able to get him the ball in certain situations and down the field because their quarterback play wasn't very good. But if he can do this and he has that athleticism and he has it all together, then we're talking about a nuanced receiver, right? So like the way I always look at these things, especially with the analogy, and I heard this recently on a pod that, oh, it's easy to project these guys. Of course they're talented. First of all, most people that are doing this aren't projecting these guys, except for they're looking at Route 247 and On 3 and just copy them, right? We know that. I do that when I'm looking at the rankings. All right, who are these guys? We're not going to these high school tapes. So they do their best that they can and say, okay, how do we project him? Hakeem is one of these guys where it's like, I don't think we know how good he is. Like he could be one of the best players of this class once he gets that production, right? And the analogy I always use is, hey, you have two guys that run the first base. One guy does it in perfect form. The other guy does not do it in perfect form, but they get there at the same time. Who do you want? You want the dude that got there, at the same time, but it didn't have perfect form. Because as soon as you teach him perfect form, he's going to be running 4 or 5 seconds faster. That's Hakeem. He can do these type of things. He's going to need to get developed as a route runner and a nuanced player, but he's got the football part down. He's got that dog part down. He's going to go up there and get it like you see here, and he can extend plays and he can just play football. He's got all that down. What he needs is coaching at that next level to get those nuanced little route running little things in there that can really elevate his game. And again, it's hard. You watch this tape. Look at this little ass dude trying to guard him down at the bottom of the screen. Like, that's just not fair he shouldn't have got tackled by that guy. But that's just not fair for the corner, right? And then when you're trying to project these guys going forward, he's not facing that in the ACC for a team that has a chance to win the ACC championship next year. And I think that's the hard part about watching these guys and trying to project. But he can do that. Goes up, scores touchdowns, can be a red zone threat. So those are the top 5. I'm going to go through the on-the-radar prospects and just kind of talk about some guys coming. But this class is loaded. So Jalen Hale's a guy I really like. DeAndre Moore going to Texas as well. Brandon Ennis and Carnell Tate, you have to mention Ohio State receivers. These guys could be in the top 5 by the time we're talking about this next year. That's how special those guys are. Brandon Ennis is a straight-ass dog. Like, this dude's just going to play, and one of the hardest workers I've seen in high school. Carnell Tate, I got to mention because, hey, when you're looking at it overall, wide receiver 3 of the class, he's having a hell of a spring camp. It's one of those things is like, he got really good ball skills, yards after the catch. He does that really well. There's some reasons why he's not in the top 5. We don't have a ton of time to dive into that, but he's right there to me. He's 7, so he could easily just get in there. Will he get on the field? We'll see how that works. I know spring he's doing well, but a lot of guys do well in the spring. It's good that he's doing. We're hearing things, but I think I've been seeing him get drafted way earlier than he probably should in some Devy drafts, just based on hype from spring. And I think we've seen that before. We've seen our mistakes there, but not to say he's not good. He is. Cordell Russell, TCU, Jalen Brown, LSU. Like, those are some on-the-radar prospects. But I'm going to tell you right now, this class is loaded at the wide receiver position. You have to really like and be excited about what you're going to see from them going forward and that process. So I appreciate you guys as always. Check those guys out. Go through the rankings. As always, if you want our full rankings, though, and I do Devy/Dynasty rankings as well, you can find it on our Patreon. Go into the description below. Go get it. $3 a month, man. And we have a deal for a full year. Get it for $30. That's the cheapest out there. We have the best content as related to price in the space, and I'll stand by that. Plus, you get the manifesto, all this different content that we produce, Patreon only podcast weekly, everything there for $3 a month. There's really not a better deal out there for you guys. So go check that out if you like it. If not, we just appreciate you being here on YouTube. So hit that like button before you leave and subscribe. Leave a comment. Who do you like in this class? I'll check you guys next time.